Most people are pretty sure about this one. Dogs help with anxiety. Dogs help with loneliness. Dogs reduce stress. You've already seen the articles, you felt it yourself, and honestly, some of it is true. But here's what I find interesting. If dogs are that good for mental health, why do the best studies on this keep producing mixed results? Why do some people feel genuinely better with a dog in their life and others end up more stressed than before they got one? And why are therapy dogs so effective in some settings? Those questions have a real answer. And once you see it, it changes what you think a dog is actually doing for you. I'm Dr. Tab Shamsi, I'm a clinical psychologist, and I'm also a positive reinforcement dog trainer. I've spent years on both sides of this question, watching what actually helps people and what actually builds real relationships with dogs. Today, I want to walk you through what the research really says about dogs and anxiety, and more importantly, what predicts whether your dog is helping you or not. The assumption is that dogs are good for your mental health. Getting a dog will help your anxiety. If you're lonely, get a dog. If you're depressed, get a dog. It's such a default belief that questioning it almost feels impolite. But when researchers actually study this carefully, something strange happens. The results don't line up the way that you'd expect. A systematic review published earlier this year looked at 116 studies on pet attachment and mental health, going back 4 decades. Some found that owning a pet was linked to better mental health, and some found that it was linked to worse mental health, and some found no relationship at all. The same year, a separate meta-analysis looked specifically at depression risk in pet owners versus non-owners, and found no reliable effect at the population level. So right away, the confident story that dogs help mental health is a lot less confident when you read the actual evidence. But there's one corner of this research where the findings are clearer. Short, structured interactions with therapy dogs, the kind of thing you might see at a community center or a public event, can reliably reduce anxiety in the moment. An analysis of 13 randomized control trials earlier this year found a moderate to large effect on state anxiety from even brief sessions with a trained therapy dog. Now notice what that's actually saying. It's saying that a structured, intentional interaction with a well-trained dog and handler can calm your nervous system in the short term. That's real. That's measurable. But it's a very different claim from owning a dog will improve your mental health over years. One is about a specific kind of interaction, the other is about ownership itself. And the research keeps telling us those two things are not the same, which raises the obvious next question. If it's not ownership doing the work, what is? When I looked at why the research is so mixed, a pattern started showing up across the studies. The variable that kept coming back, that kept explaining the difference between people who benefited and people who didn't, wasn't whether they owned a dog, it was the quality of the relationship they had with their dog, which on the surface sounds almost too simple to be useful. Of course, a better relationship with your dog is going to feel better. But stay with me on this, because there's a physiological layer here that most people don't know about. A study published in Scientific Reports looked at 58 dog owner pairs and measured their cortisol, which reflects your stress level over months, not just in the moment. What they found is that dogs and their owners had synchronized long-term stress levels. When the owner's cortisol was high, the dog's was too. When the owner's was low, the dogs tracked with it. And this was the strongest in dogs that had lived with their owners the longest. This is worth sitting with. Your long-term stress and your dog's long-term stress are not two separate things. They are coupled, measured in the body. The dog curled up next to you right now is, at a physiological level, running a version of your nervous system. Now put that together with what we just said about relationship quality. If your nervous system and your dog's nervous system are already linked, then the question stops being, does having a dog help my anxiety? And starts being something much more specific. What's the relationship between us actually doing to both of our nervous systems? That's the question the research has been trying to get at this whole time. And it turns out the answer is something that I've been demonstrating, I just didn't always describe it in these terms. So what you're watching right now is something I want to give a name to, because in my work, the same thing happens between people. We just use different language for it. This is co-regulation. Two nervous systems in the same space calibrating to each other in real time. One of us, usually me because I'm the one who's supposed to be regulated first, offers a predictable, calm signal. The other one orients to that signal and settles into it. We do this in a back and forth way that builds over time into a relationship where being around each other actually helps both of our systems stay steady. And here's the thing that almost nobody talks about. The method you use to build this relationship, the way you teach your dog how to function in the world, is the single biggest factor in whether your nervous system ends up co-regulating with each other or dysregulating each other. A study out of Portugal in 2019 tested this directly. Researchers looked at dogs from training programs that used different methods, some using rewards-based approaches, some using aversive methods, and they ran the dogs through a version of the strange situation test. The same test developmental psychologists use to measure secure attachment in babies. And what that research is pointing to is a simple truth. A relationship where your dog is free to think, try things, be wrong without consequence, and earn good outcomes through engagement. That's the relationship that produces the kind of secure bond the mental health research keeps telling us matters. This is where I want to be really clear about where rewards-based training actually is, because I think it's often misunderstood. It's not permissive. It's not letting your dog do whatever they want. What it is a framework where your dog learns how to process information, how to make choices, how to work through problems with you in an environment that feels safe and rewarding to their nervous system. That's not just good training, it's what co-regulation looks like in practice. So when someone asks me, does owning a dog help with anxiety? I want to be honest. That was never really the right question. The research we just walked through shows that ownership by itself doesn't reliably help. What helps is a specific kind of relationship where both of you are learning how to be calm in each other's presence. The real question isn't whether your dog helps your anxiety. The real question is, what kind of relationship am I building with my dog? Because that's the variable. That's what the research keeps pointing at. And that is something you have actual control over, starting today. I want to give you something specific to do with this, because build a better relationship with your dog is not an action step. That's a goal. Here's how to actually start. Start with loose leash walking. This is the one I tell everyone to do first. And I want to tell you why, because it's not just a training recommendation, it's a mental health recommendation. Physical movement is one of the most well-established interventions we have for anxiety in humans. Walking outside in particular consistently shows up in the research as a reliable way to bring a nervous system down. The same is true for dogs. A dog that gets appropriate movement every day is a dog whose nervous system has somewhere to put its energy other than into reactivity or frustration. I have a whole playlist on Training Positive dedicated to loose leash walking, from the first time your dog sees a leash to working through distractions. If you want the how-to layer for this, start there. 2, work on the basics. Sit, down, come when called. These aren't just obedience cues. They are the small daily reps of your relationship. Every time you ask your dog to do something and they respond and you reward them for it, you are depositing something into the account of trust between you two. Over time, those deposits add up to the kind of relationship where your dog looks to you when something's confusing or scary. 3, teach them something fun. I'm serious about this one. Tricks are underrated as a mental health practice for both of you. Teaching your dog a trick, roll over, spin, put toys away, hand you something, is one of the purest forms of play and cognitive engagement you can share with them. It's genuinely fun, it lowers both of your nervous systems, and it reminds you every time that training is not just about control, it's about enjoying each other. So pick one and start this week. The question was never whether your dog helps your anxiety. It was always what kind of relationship you two are building together. And that question has an answer. And the answer is something you can actually work on. You can't always control what your nervous system is doing on a given day. You can't always make yourself feel calm, but you can shape deliberately the thousands of small interactions you have with the dog in your life. And what the research is telling us quietly underneath all the mixed results is that those small interactions are where the real effect lives. Your dog is not going to cure your anxiety, but the relationship you build with them, that's different, that's real, and that is the one thing that is in your hands. Now, here's your one thing. This week, I want you to notice just one interaction you have with your dog. Could be a walk, could be a training moment, could just be sitting on the couch together. And ask yourself one question. Am I regulating alongside my dog right now? Or am I dysregulating them? Just notice. And drop a comment and tell me, what did you notice? Which interaction did you pick? And what did you see? And 2 places to go from here, depending on what brought you to this video. If you're here because the anxiety piece is what brought you in, I have a full playlist on anxiety on this channel. It goes deep both on the tools for your side of the nervous system, because as much as your dog matters, the work you do on your own regulation is what you bring into the relationship. And if you want to actually build the kind of relationship I was talking about today, if this is the first time you're hearing that training can look like what I showed you in this video, my dog training channel, Training Positive, has hundreds of tutorials on exactly this. Start with the loose leash walking playlist. That's your first move. And I'll see you in the next one.